each group of you a different era of history to research. And the question is, what impact did your era have on the modern world? So Sarah, your group has the ancient Greeks. Ravi, you've got the Romans. And Danny's group gets, yes, a bit of a challenge for you. You get the Middle Ages. Some even call it the Dark Ages.
Boring.
See how you get on.
Yes, miss.
Is that the librarian?
I guess so.
How are the Dark Ages going to have anything to do with us?
Excuse me. Sorry to bother you.
What do you want?
We need to find out what impact the Dark Ages had on the modern world.
Never was a period of history so poorly named. Don't touch. It's priceless. And I suppose someone's been filling your head with the usual nonsense, eh? 1,000 wasted years. A black hole in history, am I right?
Yeah, sort of.
You see, it's always the same. You assume it was all mud, disease, death and destruction, with marauding mobs of barbarians ripping down the good of former civilizations, burning and plundering as they went, nothing of any worth invented either, eh? Oh, no. Go on, Beofrey.
Sorry to bother you.
Come on, it's probably not worth it. Everyone knows that the Greeks and Romans invented everything anyway.
Oh, did they now? And you're sure about that, are you? You know, I might just have something for you. You seem to be up to the task. I suppose I could... Follow me. I've got just the book for you.
Where are we going?
I don't know.
Ask him.
Excuse me, where are we going?
From darkness into light, my young friend. From ocean onto land, there are things you should know. Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, I know I left it round here somewhere. Ah, here it is. Now, take a look. If you dare.
What's going on?
Welcome to the Dark Ages, or as it should be known, the Golden Ages.
Who are you?
I am Al-Jazari, engineer and ingenious inventor.
I thought you said this was the Dark Ages. It doesn't look very... dark.
That's because it's all a matter of perspective, my soon-to-be illuminated friend. Of course, there are parts of the world that weren't dark at all, but in a civilization that stretched from Spain to China, the golden rays of discovery and invention shone over everything.
What civilization?
The Muslim civilization, my young friend. Through scholars and scientists of various faiths, some of the most important discoveries known to man were made at this time. Discoveries that drew on knowledge of the ancients, but have more connections with your modern world than you could possibly ever imagine.
Like what?
Well, all sorts of things.
I've got to get a picture of this.
I knew it was a good idea.
Who are you?
Allow me to introduce Ibn al-Haytham, a great scientist whose ideas led to the invention of the camera.
You invented the camera?
I laid the foundations for modern cameras by explaining how our eyes work. I found a way of projecting an image onto another surface through a small hole in a dark room, later called camera obscura.
Think of all the things that evolved from this discovery. Cameras, cinema, all share the same principle.
Cool.
Look out below!
Who's that?
That's my good friend, Abbas ibn Farnas, who gazed up to the heavens, passionate in his belief that man could fly.
Whoa.
Indeed, he dared to dream about flying 1,000 years before the Wright brothers. Do you know you all take your jet-setting holidays for granted, so it only seems fair to remember Abbas ibn Farnas?
Stand by. I'm ready for takeoff.
He did forget one thing, though. A tail, useful for landing.
Ah, my back. Is there a doctor in the house?
Did someone call?
Ah, my old friend, why don't you introduce yourself to my young guests?
I am Abul Qasim al-Zahrawi. Many call me the father of surgery.
Did you actually do surgery back then?
Of course we did. In fact, many of the surgical tools that I invented are still used in your modern hospitals. Excuse me, a patient needs my attention. Scalpel?
I think I may need some stitches.
In that case, I'll use catgut
Catgut?
from the gut of animals. Perfect for stitching up internal wounds. Your surgeons are still using it today. Sorry, mustache.
Who's she?
That's Maryam al-Astrolabi, one of the many brilliant women of her time. She made sophisticated astrolabes.
Astro what?
Astrolabes. They show the sky and the stars on a small flat plate you can hold in your hand. Think of them as ancient calculating or timekeeping devices. Today you have your watch, your compass, satellite navigation, helping people and explorers travel the world. Science at its brilliant best.
And all these things were developed during the Golden Ages.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There were thousands of other inventions covering all areas of life, and in the years that followed, their influence spread across the whole of medieval Europe. So you see, it wasn't so dark after all.
What about you?
Me?
What did you invent?
Well, I don't want to be big-headed, but I made some groundbreaking advances in engineering. I suppose my most significant discovery converted rotary motion into linear motion using a crank and connecting rod. It's essential in pumps and engines. In fact, I've no idea how the Industrial Revolution could have happened hundreds of years later without such a device. Not that I ever get the credit I deserve. But my crowning glory was my amazing time-telling machine. My legendary elephant clock.
It's a clock.
Yes. Dozens of components collected from different cultures around the world. Indian, Greek, Arabian, Egyptian, Chinese.
Wow. A United Nations clock.
That is pretty cool.
Does it actually tell the time?
Well, yes, of course. If it wasn't for me, thousands of people would be late for everything. Speaking of time, we better get you back. And remember, spread the word. This was a golden age but I've only shown you a tiny part of this wondrous time. There are countless other scientists and inventions directly connected to your modern world. You're just going to have to find out for yourselves.
No, wait. Whoa. Did you?
Yeah. That wasn't quite so boring. Come on, we're gonna be late.
So, what have we learned? The Romans, the Greeks, the Renaissance, and the Industrial Revolution all have great relevance to us today. Where's Danny's group?
Just there, miss.
Ah, our intrepid Dark Ages group. You probably had a much harder time finding any connections with the modern world.
Actually, miss, that's not strictly true.
If learning the truth is the scientist's goal, then he must make himself the enemy of all that he reads. What's the matter, Layla?
It's nothing, Grandad. Just sort of worried about the science class tomorrow. I have to give a demonstration.
That sounds like fun. Fun.
I had to explain how we see, and all I have are these diagrams, which I don't understand. I'm going to fail. I'm going to get laughed at by everyone.
Ah, the quest of every true scientist. Sometimes it takes more than a few diagrams to truly understand our world. Now, let's see what we have here. "1,000 years before your birth, a great civilization spread across the earth. At its center, the grand city of Baghdad did rise, ruled by Caliph al-Ma'mun the Wise. In his desire for peace, the Caliph believed that through acquiring knowledge, prosperity could be achieved. Thus forth, he began his epic quest to collect the world's knowledge from east to west. Ancient books from Greece, Egypt, and Persia were collected. Wisdom from China, Africa, and India into Arabic translated. From around the globe came many women and men, of different faiths and cultures in harmony then. across the land. They built houses of wisdom and excellence, inspiring 1001 inventions and brilliance. For hundreds of years, working together, they learned and spread what would help change the world forever.
كيف نرى? We see, because light rays reflect off objects and their image enters our eyes.
Dear boy, nonsense. The great Greek scholar Euclid has taught that invisible rays shine out of our eyes, and that is how we see.
But I have here a manuscript from the Greek scholar Aristotle.
Young Ibn al-Haytham, choose your sources more wisely.
Great debates, grand theories, but where is the proof?
My friend from Basra, your way to the truth will be hard. Have faith.
But,
Debates, logic, not enough to become a true scientist.
Behold! Behold, O seekers of the truth, behold! To the best minds of this land, I have come from the illustrious city of Cairo with a message from our ruler, Al-Hakim bi-Amrillah. Our beloved Egypt is threatened by a mighty force of nature, the great River Nile. When it floods, it destroys and devastates our land. Our ruler has heard that here, in this gathering, there is a man who believes he has a monumental solution to this epic challenge: to build a giant dam across the Nile. Let this fearless scholar step forth, make himself known, and embark upon this historic task of heroic proportions.
It is I, Al-Hasan ibn al-Haytham. Yes, I believe a dam can be built. I humbly accept this mission.
Beware, my friend, beware. This is surely a path of great danger, for your life will be at the mercy of this ruler.
Prepare yourself, fearless scholar. We have no time to waste.
And so, Ibn al-Haytham seized the greatest challenge of the age: to curb the mighty River Nile from its bouts of rampage.
I can't do it.
What happened? What happened to Ibn al-Haytham? Why didn't he build the dam on the Nile?
There are different stories as to why he failed. Some say he predicted that building a dam would flood part of the Nile, destroying many villages.
But what happened to him? What did the Caliph do to him?
Light rays from the moon travel in straight lines through this small hole, just like the opening at the front of the eye. And this is how we see. This room is the proof. I was right.
Debates and theories were only the start. Experiments had to play their part. Here Ibn Haytham discovered the truth. A dark room. And now he had proof. He wrote 7 chapters in his book on optics. And how we see. Some of the mysteries he perceived are still unknown to you and me. Why the moon appears small in the sky, yet seen on the horizon so large to the eye.
Our leader has disappeared and is no more. Continue your quest, scientist.
Along with Ibn al-Haytham's pages came the Muslim world's golden ages. Where he led, others followed. New ideas were built on his wisdom borrowed. In Europe, Al-Hazan became his name. Many discoveries we know today had their beginnings in his brain. So next time, you take a photograph with that camera. Watch a movie in the cinema. Or do your homework. Remember the struggles of those scientists who came before us. In the words of Isaac Newton, if I have seen further, it is because I stand on the shoulders of giants. I wonder who those giants were. Now back to work.
Granddad, this is awesome. Can't wait to take this experiment to my class tomorrow and tell everyone about Ibn al-Haytham. I just remembered, I also have an experiment for my maths class. Biology, chemistry and physics. So many experiments we can work on.
Oh, Layla, I think our next experiment should be in the kitchen, preparing for dinner.
Ini bukan Quran, bukan buku doa-doa, bukan kitab kuning yang biasa dibaca di pesantren. Percaya atau tidak, buku ini dibaca oleh Galileo Galilei, Johannes Kepler, René Descartes, sampai Leonardo da Vinci. Judul aslinya dalam bahasa Arab adalah Al-Manazir, tapi kemudian diterjemahkan ke bahasa Latin menjadi Book of Optics. Ini adalah buku sains paling berpengaruh dalam sejarah sains di Eropa, bahkan seluruh dunia dalam bidang optik. Tanpa buku ini, mungkin sekarang tidak ada yang namanya kamera. Menariknya, buku ini usianya lebih dari 1000 tahun, tapi sampai sekarang masih relevan.
Amazing is that we, all around the world, we talk about Newton as being the father of optics, and yet here we are, 1000 years ago.
Siapa penulis buku ini? Orang Barat menyebutnya Al-Hazan, sebutan Latin untuk Al-Haytham. Ya, beliau adalah Ibnu Al-Haytham, seorang ilmuwan muslim di abad ke-11, di mana ketika itu Islam sedang dalam masa keemasannya. Orang Barat menyebutnya the Islamic Golden Age.
Allow me to introduce Ibn al-Haytham, a great scientist whose ideas led to the invention of the camera.
You invented the camera?
Mungkin bagi kalian, Ibnu al-Haytham bukan siapa-siapa. Bahkan banyak muslim yang tidak kenal beliau. Tapi di Eropa, beliau sangat terkenal, disejajarkan dengan Galileo dan Newton, karena beliau adalah peletak dasar ilmu tentang cahaya, sehingga Ibnu Haytham disebut sebagai The Fathers of Optics. Karena itu pada tahun 2015, UNESCO pernah mengadakan perayaan The International Year of Light untuk mengenang 1000 tahun karya Haytham.
I am pleased to partner with international organization 1001 Inventions to launch the World of Ibn al-Haytham Global Campaign to promote light science for the benefit of all. A groundbreaking scientist from 1,000 years ago, the life and work of Ibn al-Haytham have never been as relevant as they are today.
Salah satu temuan Ibnu Haytham yang paling merevolusi pandangan sains dunia ketika itu adalah bagaimana beliau menjelaskan cara mata kita bekerja. Sebelum adanya beliau, para ilmuwan Yunani seperti Plato dan Euclid percaya bahwa mata mengeluarkan semacam sinar ke arah objek untuk bisa melihat. Hal itu kemudian dibantah oleh Ibnu Haytham. Justru matalah yang menangkap patulan cahaya sehingga kita bisa melihat. Bahkan beliaulah yang memetakan bagian-bagian mata yang berfungsi mengatur masuknya cahaya, seperti iris, pupil, kornea, dan retina. Temuannya ini bukan sekedar teori, Ibnu Haytham membuktikannya dengan eksperimen. Bahkan eksperimennya yang bisa dibilang cukup sederhana ketika itu, menjadi dasar bagi penemuan kamera zaman sekarang, yang pada saat itu disebut kamera obscura. By the way, tahukah kalian, kata kamera berasal dari bahasa Latin yang artinya ruangan. Sedangkan obscura artinya gelap. Jadi kamera obscura artinya ruangan gelap. Dinamakan seperti itu karena Ibnu Haytham melakukan eksperimennya di ruangan gelap saat beliau dipenjara. Beliau dipenjara karena penguasa Mesir pernah memanggilnya untuk mengatasi banjir sungai Nil. Namun usahanya dianggap gagal dan sang raja marah, lalu memenjarakannya. Tapi saat di penjara inilah justru jadi momen bersejarah bagi Ibnu Haytham dan bagi perkembangan dunia sains modern. Salah satunya adalah penemuan kamera obscura.
We have a beautiful view of a nice church just outside the window here. Now, if I close this blind, through this pinhole I created in this blind, I'll be able to capture an image of this church on this transparent screen. However, it's an inverted image, as Ibn Haytham explained and demonstrated. If I let this eye look through this pinhole, I'm gonna be able to see the image of the church again, inverted back on the retina.
Kalau menurut kalian temuan Ibnu Haytham ini biasa saja, perhatikan bahwa Ibnu Haytham bukan sekedar menjelaskan cara kerja mata, tapi sifat dari cahaya itu sendiri. Beliaulah yang pertama membuktikan bahwa cahaya berjalan dalam lintasan lurus, sehingga beliau bisa menjelaskan pantulan cermin, pembiasan cahaya, dan fenomena-fenomena lainnya. Dan ini menjadi landasan penemuan semua teknologi yang melibatkan cahaya, seperti kabel optik, laser, komunikasi satelit, sampai akselerator partikel.
I'm sort of wondering what Ibn Haytham would think doing experiments with candles and pinhole cameras. Well, he wouldn't even be able to imagine a world 1,000 years later.
I think it's come a long way, but ultimately we're using exactly the same principles that he was thinking about back then.
Itulah kenapa buku Haytham ini menjadi sangat penting bagi perkembangan sains modern. Apa yang kalian pelajari di sekolah dalam bab optik, seperti cermin, pembiasan cahaya, lensa, cara kerja kamera, teleskop, mikroskop, semuanya berasal dari buku yang usianya 1000 tahun ini. Namun sayang, Ibnu Haytham tidak pernah disebutkan di buku-buku sekolah.
For me, what's so amazing is that we, all around the world, we talk about Newton as being the father of optics, and yet here we are, 1,000 years ago, 700 years before Newton, and here's a ray diagram. There's a convex lens, and there's a focal point, and there's all the ray lines and parallel lines and the angles of refraction. Here it is, 1,000 years ago.
Dan kalian perlu tahu, buku yang beliau tulis tentang sains bukan hanya ini, tapi Ibnu Haytham menulis lebih dari 200 buku. Dan bukan hanya tentang optik, tapi juga matematika, astronomi, dan engineering. Sayang, sebagian besar bukunya hilang. Ini adalah daftar buku-buku beliau yang terselamatkan. Sekali lagi, nama Ibnu Haytham mungkin bagi kalian tidak populer, tidak sepopuler Newton atau Einstein. Tapi asal kalian tahu, nama Ibnu Haytham atau Al-Hazan begitu pentingnya sampai nama beliau dijadikan nama salah satu kawah di bulan. Dan beliau juga diabadikan dalam mata uang Irak, 10.000 dinar. Dan ini adalah film yang diputar di perayaan di International Year of Light, kerjasama UNESCO dan 1001 Invention. Sebuah film yang mencoba menggugah kesadaran kita bahwa ada peran peradaban Islam dalam sains modern.
I found a way of projecting an image onto another surface through a small hole in a dark room, later called camera obscura.
Abbas ibn Farnas. He dared to dream about flying 1,000 years before the Wright brothers.
Nah guys, dalam momen Ramadan ini, mari kita merenung. Jika kalian seorang muslim, tidak melulu harus pandai dalam urusan agama. Ibnu Haytham adalah contoh bahwa seorang muslim juga bisa berperan dalam kemajuan peradaban dunia dalam ilmu pengetahuan. Karyanya melampaui batas agama, batas negara, bahkan batas waktu.
His book changed everything, and he's regarded by many as being the father of modern optics. In fact, I'd go further than that and say he was the greatest physicist in the 2,000-year span between Archimedes and Isaac Newton.